Hello, everyone. This is your host, Candace. I'm here with Dr. Joe, as usual. We are here. This is Hour of Healing. Welcome again. This is the part 2 of Who is For You. I hope you have been able to listen to last week's message. If not, it was so powerful, so fire. It just fired me up. So go listen to it before you catch up on this week, all right? Because we're not going to go back into trying to summarize everything, but we talked about individualism in terms of, how it's a good thing for us to hone into it, but at the same time, there are instances in our life and in our vision, in our walks in life or our purpose, where we need to let that go a little bit and allow people to come in, and we learn so much to the point where we were able to realize that all the people coming to us are not always for us, all right, or they can be for us, but they may not be for our purpose or our vision, all right. So it's like you need you need knowledge to discern who is for you. So we'll pick it up today. Dr. Joe, welcome.
Thank you so much, Sister Candice, and thank you for that summary. And I am geared up. I am ready, and so I hope our audience are ready for the second part of our discussion on who is for you.
Yes, and before we go in, as usual, if you can redefine or re-explain why we came up with this theme or why you came up with it, because somebody may not have listened to the previous.
Yeah, so when we talk about who is for you, like you said in your introduction, we live in a time and an era where individualism is hailed. Individualism is lifted up, is at an all-time peak. That is almost as though when a group does something, it's not as impactful or as great as when an individual does that. With this topic, one of the core things we're trying to drive at is for you not to do life alone, because life, as we know it, is too long, too stressful, too chaotic, too difficult to do it alone. And we were not actually made to ever do life alone. We will talk a bit about the spiritual aspect of this statement before we end our conversation today. But when you are talking about individualism, that is the personal autonomy, self-reliance, the pursuit of individual goals and interests, those are all good. But there has to be guardrail, because second is what you realize is that when people buy into this idea without the sense of community, without a sense of team, they don't invest themselves in the community. And so one of the things that we've seen come out of this individualistic society or ideology is the fact that people don't tend to support the society as much. In the past, you hear of phrases as "I am my brother's keeper."
Mhm.
Now you don't.
Right.
The reason is because we are more centered on ourselves. But the danger of being more centered on ourselves is that the confidence that we need to succeed as individuals can easily become overconfidence, and that leads to pride. And
Mhm.
pride will lead to a downfall in any way you look at it. The other part is it leads to us not caring about the people that we are surrounded with. People may come into our life that they will enhance us, but we don't pay attention to their value to us.
Right.
The other issue becomes the issue of choice with an individualistic mindset, because when do you know? I know people always talk about who are you to tell me what is right for me. Well, the truth is, do you always know what is right for you? What is your vision?
Sometimes.
What is the knowledge that is influencing what you think is right for you? And what is right for you has an impact on the people around you. And so, whilst you are focused on yourself and how things are right for you, be mindful of what the choice you are making is impacting, or the impact is having on other people, because they also have the right to choose not to be impacted by what you are choosing in a negative way.
Right.
So I think I used to have a saying that I will tell people that when you are exercising your right to choose, make sure you are not infringing on my right to choose.
Mm.
So you can choose what you want to choose as your right, but ensure that what you are choosing or what you are doing is not infringing on my right
Right.
to also choose what I want.
Yeah.
And so it becomes a problem when you think about the individualistic system or society, in the sense that I want what is good for me and that's it.
Right.
Anything else or anybody else
Can't
can
wait.
go burn the bushes.
Right.
And that becomes something that doesn't promote where we are going in life. So the topic, who is for you, is to actually bring our audience attention to the fact that the people that are called to you are not necessarily called to you for your personality. There are people who are called to you as a person, but also there are people who are called to you for your vision. And
Hmm.
so when you don't understand this, it creates a conflict or chaos and name calling and all those other things that we talked about in part one.
Right. That's so powerful, Dr. Joe. I was just thinking that as a leader or as somebody with a purpose or a vision or who has discovered their purpose, you have to know about these two things: the supporters
Yeah.
of my vision and the supporters of my personality. But my question there is, must one value one than the other?
Hmm.
Because I think that's what sometimes creates problems, because people feel like, okay, I want to be able to travel to Italy. So whoever is supporting that vision or whoever is supporting that goal has to come with me to Italy. So if they don't want to come with me, but they're wondering, what are you going to eat when you're on your way there? What are you going to wear? We feel like that is less of important. Why are you worried about that? Then you're not really for me. So if you could
Hmm.
clarify on that, that would be.
Yeah, so that is a little bit of a trivial example. So let's bring it home. Let's talk about ministry. All right. So there are many preachers or many pastors who have a vision of what God wants them to do to advance the kingdom, and then people come to them. Now, the people who come to them, like I have stated earlier, they are not all for that vision. There are people who, you will be surprised, will be called specifically to you as a minister or as a business person just to bear the burdens of life. Like you were saying, to care about how your children are doing, how your home is when you are not there. You will be fortunate if this person is your spouse,
Oh.
because that is, I mean, that you hit the jackpot on that one. Because but not always. Some people will have wives or husbands, but yet have burden bearers, people to care about these stresses of life. So when such people come to you, your question is, do you value one more than the other? The person who is for your vision more than your personality or
Yeah.
your life, your
because
livelihood.
because most of the time, I say, if I have a purpose, that's more important to me than myself, for most people. So it's like kind of easier for most people to value the person who's supporting the vision. So that's.
Yes. So it's actually not as simple to be able to answer this question as many may think. Because when you were asking your question, I was like, "Oh, straightforward, no." But then, as I'm thinking about it, it's actually not that simple,
Mhm.
because let's take the vision for instance. The vision first. The vision you have determines how you respond to these two or you value these two people. So when your vision is at the end of the day to impact your livelihood, then it becomes easier for you to value the people who are for your vision more. But if the vision you have is not necessarily to impact your livelihood. So, for instance, I don't know if this would be a good example, but let's pick a businessman and a preacher.
Okay.
Now, the businessman has a vision of building a multi-billion corporation, but at the end of the day, the underlying goal is to make money.
It's to be wealthy.
Yes, is to be worthy. That's really what the underlying goal is. A multi-billion company or a multi-million company to make me millions.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you are a minister, your vision is different. Hopefully, your vision is to win as many souls for the kingdom of God as possible. But with this vision is the one that your responsibility is towards to keep you, to provide for you. But your vision as a minister is not to make money. Money becomes part of the package or the blessings that you receive in return. So when you take the businessman, since their goal is to make money, they will tend to value the people who are for the vision more than anything else. But it's not so with the minister, because the minister's vision is really not centered on themselves. It's centered on an external entity, it's centered on God. So if your vision is centered on something other than yourself, then you cannot choose to value the people who are for your vision more than the people who are burden bearers.
Mm.
Because at the end of the day, your livelihood needs to be kept intact in order for you to further the vision of the kingdom advancement. I
Mm.
don't know if this makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yes, it's not really that simple, because if you choose as a minister or as someone whose vision is not centered on themselves, if you choose to ignore the people who will protect your livelihood, the people who will pick up your kids from school and drop them off, the people who will check in on your spouse, the people who will be able to make sure that you have food to eat, if you ignore them, you may at some point not have the physical strength to continue advancing that vision that you have, because it's not centered on you. But the businessman whose vision ultimately centers on themselves always have that in mind. I'm creating wealth so that I can be wealthy. Nobody, I have not come across this. No minister will say, I am winning people for the kingdom of God so that I will have people around me. No, it doesn't work like that. And if it's working like that for you, great. But that's not really how it works.
And that's good. Thank you, Dr. Joe. But you said something in your explanation with if one of the supporters of your vision or personality becomes your wife, you said something about you've hit jackpot, right?
Yeah.
But
So
mhm.
yeah. So what I was saying was not really the supporters. I was specifically talking about the burden bearer.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Yes, I was specifically talking about if your burden bearer happens to become your husband or your wife,
Right,
then you hit
right.
the jackpot.
So I actually wrote a question down in terms of friendship, personal friendships.
Mm,
In these people that are for us, they could be for the vision or they could be the burden bearers. Should must a per can a person should a personal friendship stem out of that? Is that Could that be a mistake? Because I'm asking that because I feel like sometimes, even with the wife situation, I feel like sometimes the personal relationship or the personal friendship that gets to be built out of this, sometimes it works, but sometimes it creates a whole mess.
yeah.
So if we can speak on that, is it safe? are there things we should look out for? Are there specific people that we can say, okay, this person probably qualifies, so they could pass the test of personally being with me and at the same time personally serving it, serving in this role?
Yeah. So it's a it's an interesting and a challenging situation for anyone to find themselves in, because you realize that when we started the conversation, we talked about vision. We all have friends, and friends become for us. By the way, relationships, it's not just simply the burden bearer and then everybody else. There are various levels that I think we alluded to some of them in part one. Um, but when we talk about friendship, what friendship does is friendship is first built on our personality. I am friends with this person because of the personality they have, whether it agrees with mine or it doesn't. I am friends with them because of that. So that's because of their personality, their livelihood. Now, let's say that person builds or creates a vision that they are working towards. Now, the vision that they have created sometimes can become something that contradicts what my friendship with them is. And we know people who they will say, "Oh, I was friends with this person, and then they started doing this, so I left them." So at that time, what you have to realize, or what we learned from that situation, is that it wasn't. What we learned from that situation is that there are two things that may have happened. One is either your personality, because of the new vision, has changed, or your vision contradicts your personality. I
Oh
don't, I,
Lord.
I don't know if that makes sense.
It makes sense, but that's scary.
Yes, because your visions can be both, can be either way. Visions can be either way. It can change your personality, or it can contradict your personality.
Right.
So your vision can be congruent with, like, let's say you are an armed robber, and then you say you have a calling into the ministry. At that moment, your armed robber friends, what do you think they're going to do? Your personality and your vision doesn't fit. So it's either you change to fit your vision,
Right.
or they will leave.
Yeah.
When you change, the good news is most of the time, the people who are truly our friends will see the change, and it will impact them in a positive way, where they also change for the better. But it will be naive for us to assume that they will be for the new vision, because the basis of our friendship is really not there anymore, because you have changed. And so I want to be able to tie this in to an observation when it comes to ministry, because when as we grow in ministry, the people around us change.
Right.
Sometimes the sad thing that I notice is that ministers begin to brand the people that are no longer around them as evil or as position. And I think that's an error, because when ministry grew or when ministry changed, your vision may have changed. So, who is for you? Why are they for you? If the vision has changed, that, well, I wanted to build an evangelistic ministry where we travel from town to town to evangelize. And now I see that people like my sermons, and so I have 1,000 followers. So I want to build a church and not go out or elsewhere to preach.
I'm leaving.
That 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 vision has changed. It's not wrong, but it has changed.
Yeah.
And so if someone came to be for you because of the vision of an evangelistic ministry and they leave, they're not evil. They're not
Yeah.
opposition. They just people who were for a vision you are not for anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you see so much demonizing, and I mean, some people go to the extent of calling names and
A
branding
whole
them.
lot.
If you follow this person, you don't believe in God. No, it's not so. We need
Yeah.
to have a change in our mindset.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
need to understand that who is for you doesn't necessarily mean that they are for your vision or for your personality.
Yeah. Yeah.
People can be for your vision and not for your personality. It
Oh yeah.
happens all the time.
It's a lot. But I think that's where the misconception comes in. If you're for my vision, you are for me. You know, like if I
Yes.
see you supporting my vision, of course you like me. But sometimes, Dr. Joe, you attest to we've supported certain people that you may not really like. you know,
Sister Candace, before you do that, there's something really funny that I told a man of God. He wasn't very happy about it, but we were talking and something, it wasn't even on this topic or anything, but I forgot what really we were talking about. And oh yeah, so he was talking about his appearance, that he is handsome looking and things like that. And I said, Papa, the truth is, the people who are coming to you, I don't think it's because you are pretty. They come into you because of the anointing. And if you lose the anointing of God on your life,
that's it.
they will leave you.
Yeah.
He wasn't too happy, but
a lot a lot of people, but I guess it's the lack of knowledge, not in an insultive way, but it's a lack of knowledge, and it's like we've jumbled everything together. All the people coming out for me, for my vision, for whatever, blah blah blah, but I want us to I don't know if we have, yeah, I think we have time to bring an aspect in where there could be some people that are for us but not in action.
mm,
And
mm,
I'll
mm,
probably expand a little bit on it so you can get it to also expand on it. I've been in instances, or as per my little experiences, where you see the vision that the person that the person that you are for have, right? You see the vision that they have, and then you want to support that vision, or you are supporting that vision, but then you realize that they are being stagnant, or they are not actually pursuing. They have the vision, but they are not really active, I should say, about the vision. So the people
mm,
that are
mm,
for you also wait. It's like they put a pause on themselves because you are
mm.
inactive about the
Correct.
vision. And I
Correct.
think that can be missed in transition in terms of interpreting if they are still for us. When they have
Mm,
put a pause
mm,
on
mm,
themselves,
mm.
we can easily spot the people that are like, oh, what do you need, blah blah blah, even when you are in a standstill as a missionary, as the
Yeah.
person
Yeah.
whom we are for. Even if you're at a standstill, there are some people who are whatever little things, they'll find means to be there or to support.
Correct.
And then you
Correct.
can define those people as truly being for you. But then there is a group of other people that may be for you, that are waiting for you to be in a certain action or in a certain movement before they
Mm,
also
mm.
move. So if you can expand on that.
Yeah. So really, Sister Candace, thank you for that. I think it's a very powerful point, but I don't think it's a question. Because you're making a very profound point that if people are for your vision and you are not working towards your vision, they become inactive. And so, if that happens, this all comes down really to what we're talking about: knowing the vision, having the right knowledge, and knowing what the people around us are about. Because, again, this part of this conversation is what you are saying, that when you realize that people are for your vision and they become inactive or dormant, it's a clarion call to you to realize that you may not be working towards the vision yourself.
Mhm.
You may be in hiatus. You may be in a period of hibernation.
Mm-hmm.
And so the people who are for us help us keep working. And that's one of the points, that they help us keep working towards our goal.
Mm-hmm.
So if someone is for our vision, they will continue to be there to help us work towards the vision. So in the case where such people are dormant and they are not doing anything, it's up to us to realize that we are not working towards our goal or the vision. That is
Mm-hmm.
why they are dormant.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that they are lazy or they becoming
They don't want
lazy.
us. Mm-hmm.
All
Yeah.
right. So that's the other important thing about knowing who is for you.
Yeah.
Because once you discover who is for your vision, then you are able to determine what is happening with your vision based on the people around you.
Yeah.
Another important thing that knowing who is for you does is it helps define the vision. So when you are going off rails, when you are going off track, they will begin to leave, or something changes
In them.
within that dynamic.
Yeah.
And that should help you realize that something is going wrong with the vision. So they help align you, they help keep you on track.
Yeah. Yeah.
The other thing, that knowing who is for you, understanding these two principles that we're talking about, is they help to grow the vision.
Mm-hmm.
And that is where our individualistic society robs us of that growth. The people who are for our vision help grow the vision. And so they will help grow the business. They will help grow the church. They will help grow the family. They are not for that vision,
Mm-hmm.
they will not help grow it. And so when people are around you and they are not helping grow the vision, you have to be wary of such people.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you draw them too close, they may draw you away from the vision rather than the vision away from you.
Yeah.
They are not for the vision,
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
they can draw you from the vision. We need to understand that,
Mm-hmm.
and
You
we
know,
need to realize that.
Doctor, this is scary. You know, like it got so much into me. I almost called you by your house name, your home name. But this is scary because I see this, like, I kid you not, and it's like you see that the person that it's like people are actually redefining certain leaders' vision
Yes,
or their purpose, and they are
yes,
going along with it because they are kind of soaked in the concept of they are for me, or they
yes,
support me, or they are yes men, or whatever, you know. And so whatever those people, because you don't want to lose such people, because sometimes we, you know, we get into that, because you don't want to lose such people, wherever they stare you, you end up turning to, and just
correct.
you know, in light of keeping them,
Yes,
you
yes.
know. So it's this is so crucial, and it's like it's so needed, because I see this a lot, and I feel like, well, maybe I should ask, do you think the person that had the vision in the first place did not mature the vision, that's why it's easy for them to be swayed?
I It could be yes, but I don't think it's actually that simple. Because for you to have any vision for others to come to, or for others to be called to, then you must have invested in the vision.
Okay.
But sometimes, when we dream, when we have a vision, we don't we see in part. So we don't really have a full picture of how our visions will look like.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what happens is, as you are working towards that vision, the people who are called for the vision help point certain aspects that you may not have seen. But at the end of the day, you realize as the leader that the foundational vision is still the same, that it still stays put. What happens, or what you are asking about, is when people have a vision and others are called to that vision, and when others come to that vision, they begin to expand the vision in a way that pulls it away from its original
Right.
foundation. When that happens, is either the leader, you, the person who had that initial vision, it's either you did not believe in it completely, or you are beginning to entrust the vision to someone else. So there is this thing when it comes to ministry, that most ministers at a point begin to take the vision that they had and entrust it to themselves. That you run into situations where it's almost as if no one will say this publicly, but it's almost as if that if I don't hold this vision of ministry, no one else can. But when you started the vision, you actually entrusted it to God because you were doing it for Him. And so when you get to a point, I think I've asked this question before, that will you as a minister be willing to close down your church for a month if God tells you to do so? Because when you get to the point where this becomes a problem for you,
You
then
are
you need
losing.
to realize that the vision is no longer being entrusted to the person it was for in the first place. You are
Hey.
entrusting it to the membership that you have,
Wow.
and that can be to your detriment.
Yeah.
So I don't want to say no to your question, but it can be that when people brought new ideas to our vision, we started moving the foundation or the core of our vision towards them. And if you that is where you end up having all these people who will build up something great, and then at the peak of success, they will begin to juxtapose who that vision was for in the first place. Because yes, you had this vision, but I brought this, and you
Yeah.
shifted your entire vision to make it look like this. If
Yeah.
you trusted your vision well and bought into it completely, you could have probably had the same results with your initial vision if you have stuck with it and went followed it through. So it's
Yeah.
not that we don't mature our vision, because vision grows as people are called to it. But when people are called to our vision, it still must remain the vision that we have.
Yeah.
It shouldn't become their vision that I am supervising. And that is what a lot of our leaders do, unfortunately.
I think that's one of the things too. Like we feel like, oh, they do it, I just supervise them, like what you were saying. But if you are the one that have the vision, you are the source. Like you are the channel in which everything will flow or must flow for
Yes,
the others to expand on it,
yes,
not someone else. Because then
yes.
it start being somebody else's vision and my vision.
Mr. Candace, I want us to be able to wrap up within the next few minutes. But talking about visions and things of this caliber, one of the key things is our vision of life. Many people live life without a vision of their eternity.
Mm,
Many people live life without a vision of the overall end goal. You can have a vision about career. Many have vision about the kind of jobs they want to do, the
mm-hmm,
kind of profession they want to be in.
mm-hmm,
But I find that many also don't have a vision of their eternity. And so when such people run into trouble, it's easy for them to pick up the vision of other people.
mm,
But if you have a vision of your eternity, that the downstream of that is it influences the various visions that you have for your life. And so, for the one who has an eternal vision, I say to them that don't be afraid to trust or to commit your unknown future to a known God. Don't be afraid to commit your vision to God, because when you commit your vision to God, He is known, He is unchanging, and so He is able to keep you. The Bible says that He is able to keep that which is committed to Him to a successful end. But I find that most people lose their vision because they have not been able to commit that vision, whether in profession, in marriage, in business, whatever it is, in ministry, they have not committed that fully to God. And so when others come and they have other ideas, it begins to sway them. And so, my question to you, dear visionary, dear leader, dear businessman, philanthropist, minister, who is for you?
Mm,
Who really is for you? The
mm.
people around you, are they for your vision or
For a
they are for your
personality.
livelihood?
Mm, mm, mm. Hey,
Because if you do not make this distinction, you will begin to entrust your vision to the
and
wrong people,
yeah,
and that is when we have things like this person is disloyal, this person is unfaithful. Yes, there are disloyal people, there are unfaithful people, but who really is for you?
yeah,
Because if someone leave and they were not for you in the first place, then they are not disloyal. They just
yeah,
people who came and left.
yeah. And you know, one thing I've realized too, Dr. Joe, before we wrap up, the people that are for the vision, they look up to the one that has the vision. And the
Yes.
moment they see that the vision has been transferred into someone else's hands, or that they somehow they could leave, or they don't support it no more.
Yeah, they will
So,
go. They are for the vision. So if it change, they change. Allegiance change.
yeah. But thinking about this, you might think that because they handed your vision to someone, the vision supporters would then go and support the vision being with someone else, but they don't.
So there's a ministry like Joel Osteen's ministries. When his dad passed away, Lakewood Church, many people left the church, even though it was the same vision that was transferred to the son.
Right.
Why did they leave? Because they felt that his personality wouldn't fit that. And the truth of the matter is, Joel Osteen's personality doesn't fit that of his dad.
Oh.
But because he took the vision, he was able to expand on it.
Mm.
And I mean, you look at Lakewood Church now, and I think it's one of the biggest churches in America. I don't know this for a fact, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
The vision has grown. So when the vision was transferred, his personality changed it. And that is why not everybody who is for the vision necessarily will transfer when
With
the
you.
vision is transferred to
Transferred.
someone, because personalities do change visions. And that's the little that I can say about that.
That's very powerful. Viewers, we're going to wrap it up. I think in the end, what I took from that is that somehow we are tied to our vision. There is a part of us in our vision. Once it's transferred, it shifts. There's a
Yes.
shifting.
Yes.
But we'll leave you guys here. This is Hour of Healing. I hope you've been healed. If not you, your mind has been healed. Now your mind, your family has been healed. Community, something you can, speak about it with your family, your friends, share it. But we will wrap up today on who is for you. This has been so eye-opening and so interesting. I've learned a lot, and I myself I have been healed. So I believe Dr. Joe as well. Don't think the teacher is exempt from what he's teaching.
No, not at
so
all.
so we've all been healed. Literally sometimes I take notes. So yeah, we are all healing ourselves in order to heal our community and this generation. I'll hand it over back to you, Dr. Joe, as you wrap us up for today or this week.
Thank you so much, Sister Candice, for hosting us today for the conclusion of our conversation on who is for you. This is a very broad topic, and I think we can keep going on and on and on. And from time to time, this is beginning to actually seem like hour of healing, not 30 minutes of healing, because we keep going over time and time again.
It's an hour of healing. Hello, hour.
But dear listeners, I want you to understand that in our individualistic society, it's important that you have people that you do life with. But it does not come easy, because everyone coming to your vision has their own vision as well. People who come to our vision are there to grow our vision, not to deviate our vision. But please don't make the mistake that everybody who is called to you as you pursue your vision is for the vision. There are people who are there primarily to be your burden bearers. They are there to carry the burdens of life for you whilst you proceed to further your vision. When such people come, don't make the mistake to entrust them with your vision. Don't make the mistake to think that they are for the vision, because you will find that when the vision changes, more than likely such people may still be there. Don't let that sway you or make you mistakenly think that you are still pursuing the vision that you had. That is an error. But when people come and they are for your vision, when that vision changes, when you are no longer for your vision, please don't think they are disloyal when they leave, because they were only for your vision and not for you. So who is really for you? In doing life, who is in your corner? Well, let me suggest one to you. There is a man called Jesus. When he is in your corner, he is able to guide you. He is able to lead you. He is able to help you. He is able to empower you to be able to fulfill the vision that you have. So, friends, don't be afraid to commit your unknown future to this known God who is Jesus. He already knows your end from your beginning. The vision you have, as a matter of fact, was birthed out of his grace. And so he will give you grace to be able to complete that vision. But don't make the mistake to think that as long as Jesus is on your side, you don't need men. No, you need men to be able to bring that vision to pass. Because the vision that God has given you has to grow. And the vision grows by us understanding why men are called to that vision or to us. The vision grows by understanding how to manage these men and women who come to us because of our vision. I pray and I hope that you and I from today will begin to understand and study the people who have come to us and know who really is for us and who is for our vision. Because at the end of the day, if your vision is to God, then you must know that the people who come to your vision are for God and not for you. So if you no longer follow God, they will leave you. I hope we have been healed. God bless you so much for tuning in today. Please don't forget to follow us on Instagram. Each and every week we do post reels and short videos there. Share them with your friends, with your family. And again, we are working towards something. And dear friends, that which we are working towards is of glory. God bless you, and we will see you same time next week. Bye-bye.